Good afternoon, everyone. Last time we were continuing with the topic aldehydes and ketones. In which we were discussing the reduction properties of aldehydes and ketones, right? Out of which I told you that whenever a carbonyl group is reduced, it may be reduced by many pathways. The first possible way is using hydrogen on platinum surface. What should be the reduction product? It is CHOH. That means carbonyl group is getting reduced to alcohol. The second is using lithium aluminium hydride or sodium borohydride, which again gives alcohol, right? The third reduction product could be using zinc amalgam. Whenever you have given Hg, that means it's a metal amalgam. Amalgam is used to reduce the activity of metal, right? So using this in presence of HCl, what you will get is a alkyl group plus H2. In this case, you have not got any alcohol, but you have got any alkyl group, right? So this reaction is called Clemmensen reduction. Clemmensen's reduction. While the reduction of carbonyl group using hydrazine is NH2, right, and KOH gives CH2 plus H2O, right? This reduction is called Wolff-Kishner reduction. All right. So basically we have 4 pathways by which this carbonyl group can be reduced, out of which 2 are into the formation of alcohol, while 2 are resulting in the formation of alkane, right? The next very important property of aldehydes and ketones is aldol condensation. Does anybody know what is aldol condensation? Aldol means any aldehyde, right, and alcohol, and condensation means combination, right? So whenever 2 aldehydes having alpha hydrogens, that means suppose this is the carbonyl group, carbon alpha to this carbonyl group having alpha hydrogen, that means this is alpha hydrogen, or any hydrogen next to carbonyl is alpha hydrogen. Any carbonyl group, any aldehyde or ketone having an alpha hydrogen in presence of weak alkali, we can use NaOH combined with another molecule of aldehyde or ketone to form aldols, right? Suppose we are taking acetone and acetone, for example, right? What should be the product? It would be CH3 CO CH3, right? This is the first reactant. If it wants to combine with this molecule, what it should do? It should combine with the alpha. Why we are saying that aldol condensation is a property of molecules having alpha hydrogen? That means alpha hydrogen has to do something with the condensation part. That means the alpha hydrogen participate in the bonding with this carbonyl group. So what happens? This carbonyl group get reduced, right? Again, this becomes CH2, right? CO CH3, right? But is it possible that there could be a further reaction of this aldol? Now you are getting why this is called aldol. This is aldehyde part, right, carbonyl part, and this is alcohol part. So this is known as aldol formation. And now when we are saying aldol condensation, that means one molecule of water is being released. So what should be the product? It should be CH3 C, then double bond CHCOCH3, right? So that means aldol condensation has resulted into formation of alpha. This is the carbon next to the carbonyl group, that means this is the alpha carbon and this is the beta carbon. That means that it has resulted into formation of alpha beta unsaturated due to presence of double bond, alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds, right? Understood? This reaction could happen between any two aldehydes, any two same aldehydes, or it could happen between aldehyde and ketone, or it could happen between ketone and ketone. But the most important condition is that the aldehydes, both the participating reactants should have alpha hydrogen. This is the must condition for the aldol condensation, right? So what is the mechanism of aldol condensation? Any idea what should be the mechanism for aldol condensation? Why we are using weak base? There should be some role of alkali or use of NaOH here. Why we have not used acid? Why only alcohol? Suppose we are talking about formaldehyde, right? Does it has alpha hydrogen? So should it undergo the aldol condensation? It does not have alpha carbon. So how can it undergo aldol condensation? So what should be the reaction if I try to combine two molecules of formaldehyde using NaOH? What should be the possible product? Should we call this reaction as aldol condensation? And what if I consider this reaction CH3COH? If I replace one of the reactant by any carbonyl compound having alpha hydrogen, so in that case should it undergo the aldol condensation? Because in this case this reactant has alpha hydrogen. This is known as the alpha hydrogen, right? So what should be the product? It should be like, I can write this as CH2H for my convenience for now, right? So what happens? This H goes to this oxygen, because we know carbonyl group is polar in nature, that means it is O minus and this is C plus. That means ideally H plus should go to O minus, right? So what should be the product? It should be HCOH H CH2COH, right? Similarly, I can write this reaction for, this was what? This was acetaldehyde. Similarly, I can write this reaction for acetone as well. What should be the product? It would be HCOH H, then CH2COCH3. The only difference is that here we have one more alkyl group. So if out of two molecules, even only if one molecule has alpha hydrogen, it can undergo aldol condensation. If both of the reactants molecule do not have alpha hydrogen, that means they can't undergo aldol condensation, right? Let's take this example, CH2OH thrice CCHO. Does this compound, what is the name of this compound? This is, does this compound 1 has alpha hydrogen or not? Does this compound has alpha hydrogen or not? It has alpha hydrogen. I can write this as CH2OH CH2OH right? And this as CH2OH, then it should be 3 twice, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It's CH2OH, C, O and H, right? What would be the reaction with formaldehyde? Obviously I know that this carbon does not has alpha hydrogen. Does this carbon has alpha hydrogen? This carbonyl has alpha hydrogen. So what should be the reaction? Will it undergo the aldol condensation? But what reaction? If I am saying that 1 and 2 are combining to form a product, what should be the product? Okay, alright, I understand that it will not undergo aldol condensation. Then in that case, what should be the product for this reaction? It would be CH2OH 4 plus HCOOH. Why I have written this product? Because initially we had only 3 groups of methanol, right? But why I have written 4 groups of methanol now and 1 formic acid? That means this reaction has undergone oxidation and reduction reaction. This second molecule has undergone oxidation into formic acid. Formaldehyde has undergone oxidation to formic acid, while this compound 1 having the carbonyl group but having no alpha hydrogen has undergone what? Reduction, right? So this reaction is called cross Cannizzaro reaction, or in fact I should write Cannizzaro reaction. So what are Cannizzaro reactions? Cannizzaro reaction are the self-oxidation and reduction reaction. It is not necessary that for the Cannizzaro reaction both of the molecules should be same, but the condition for Cannizzaro reaction is that the compound, the carbonyl compound should not possess alpha hydrogen. Only then it could undergo self-oxidation and reduction reaction, right? This is what is known as Cannizzaro reaction. Can we have another example for Cannizzaro reaction? Let's take 2HCHO. That means this is formaldehyde. I am taking 2 molecules of formaldehyde. Both, I can write this as HCHO again, right? Both of these carbonyl compound does not possess alpha hydrogen. That means whatever the reaction they will undergo, it is not the aldol condensation. Instead, it is Cannizzaro reaction. So what should be the product when I am saying that they are the self-oxidation and reduction reaction? That means out of these 2 molecules, 1 molecule will undergo reduction and 1 will go and undergo oxidation. That means the product is very much clear. That means it will form CH3OH and HCOOH, because we know the next higher product of oxidation for aldehydes and ketones are the carboxylic acids, right? And the reduction product for the aldehyde and ketones are the alcohols, right? Provided we provide the basic medium. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. If I am mentioning NaOH, I'll write this as HCONa. These are the sodium salts. Okay, whatever medicine we are eating, they are all the salts of acids and base. Only then, because salt is something you can precipitate out. Whenever I make some salt of any acid, base or alcohol, that means I am precipitating out. Whenever I am writing HCONa, anything replaced by Na. Whenever I am replacing proton with the Na, that means I am precipitating out it as a solid. Right? If I simply write OH minus, I'll assume that I am not using Na, I'll using H. But basically OH minus is, that means I'm using NaOH. So you should better write HCOONA, right? Can we have a cross Cannizzaro reaction? Just like we had aldol condensation, which could happen between two different aldehyde or two different ketone, or an aldehyde and a ketone. Similarly, Cannizzaro reaction can occur between two different aldehyde and ketones, right? This reaction is called cross Cannizzaro reaction. So suppose I am taking benzaldehyde with this substituent, it is O-methoxy benzaldehyde. Does this compound has alpha hydrogen? Does this compound has alpha hydrogen? I can write this as COH. This is the alpha carbon. It does not possess any hydrogen. That means obviously it will undergo cross Cannizzaro reaction. The another reactant is HCHO, that means formaldehyde, right? For which I am using NaOH. What should be the product? How will you decide which of the, when I am taking different aldehyde and ketone, how would you decide which reactant will undergo oxidation and which will undergo reduction? How will you decide? It could be either HCOOH or CH2OH, or it could be OCH3 and CH2OH, right? Or it could be OCH3 COOH. What should be the possible product? These are the possible products, but what should be the correct answer? CH2OH. Why CH2OH? Why it will go, why this compound will undergo reduction and why not this? Whenever you have such kind of, whenever you are given a choice between aromatic and aliphatic aldehyde and ketone, then the carbonyl group will be retained by the aliphatic group, always. That's a rule, that's a thumb rule. That means always an aliphatic compound will retain the oxidation part. That means it will retain the carbonyl part. That you can see from here that it has the carbonyl part, but this does not has the carbonyl part, hence this possibility is ruled out. And if this compound is getting oxidized, it is very much obvious then this compound will get reduced, and hence this should be the product and not this, right? So this was cross Cannizzaro reaction. Do you know the mechanism for cross Cannizzaro reaction? It is again very important from examination point of view. Suppose let's take C6H5COH, right? We have taken this compound. I am using NaOH, right? This is OH minus, this is Na plus, again this is minus and plus. I can write this as O minus and C plus, right? What will happen? This reaction is very much fast and it will result in the formation of C6H5CH, OH and ONA, right? In the next step, what will happen? C6H5CH, ONA, OH will react with another molecule of C6H5CHO. How it will react? It will transfer this. First, I can again write this as C plus and O minus. What bond will break out? This bond will break because this is O minus Na plus. This bond is labile in nature, right? So what would be the product? It would be C6H5COOH. This H, suppose if this bond is getting cleaved, then what will happen? This hydride will go to C plus. This is H minus, right? Hydride. There is a difference between H plus and H minus. This is proton and this is hydride. So what will happen if this bond is getting cleaved? What will happen? This bond will get cleaved and it will transfer hydride to this carbonyl carbon, right? So what will happen? What you will get? C6H5 C double bond O, right? And OH, and this product is getting formation into C6H5 CH2ONA. I'm considering here that I was starting with both the starting molecule as benzaldehyde, right? Similarly, I can take this molecule as HCHO, just like the previous example, right? Understood? Always remember that the aldehyde, that the carbonyl will be retained by the aliphatic part, right? Please explain cross-Cannizzaro reaction. Okay. Whenever I am saying that what is Cannizzaro reaction, I am saying that there is a reaction between aldehyde plus ketone or ketone plus ketone in presence of base, right? But the condition for the Cannizzaro reaction, whatever will be the product, the condition is that the compound, that the aldehyde and ketone should not possess alpha hydrogen, right? Suppose I am taking both the molecule as ketone, same ketone, right? So in this case, I am saying that the reaction which is taking place is known as the Cannizzaro reaction, right? But this is not the example for Cannizzaro reaction because this carbon has alpha hydrogen. So I should drop this. Suppose I am saying that there is a reaction between HCHO and HCHO, formaldehyde, right? In this case, the reaction that would occur, it will be known as the Cannizzaro reaction. But when I am saying that I am taking one aldehyde and a different aldehyde, suppose CH3 3C, right, CHO. Does this molecule has alpha hydrogen? In that case, when I am taking different aldehyde group, I mean as in I am taking both the aldehydes, both not having the alpha hydrogens, but whenever they are different aldehydes, the reaction which will occur is known as the cross-Cannizzaro reaction. Again, if I am given a choice, if I have an aromatic aldehyde and a aliphatic aldehyde, in that case, what will happen? The self-oxidation and reduction reaction will result in the formation of an alcohol and an carboxylic acid, out of which always the aliphatic part will retain the carbonyl group, right? So that means it will result in the formation of CH2OH and it will result in the formation of HCOH, right? So this was cross-Cannizzaro reaction. Right. Okay, you know what is Claisen condensation? Claisen condensation. Suppose you are given with an aldehyde like this and a ketone like this, right? And you are given a basic medium. What should be the product? Basically, Claisen condensation is an extension of Cannizzaro reaction or aldol condensation. What will happen? Because this has alpha hydrogen, but it does not have alpha hydrogen. So basically, this is the part of aldol condensation, because aldol condensation says that any of the aldehyde or ketone should possess alpha hydrogen, while in case of Cannizzaro it says that both the reactants should not possess the alpha hydrogen, right? This is the extension of the aldol condensation. Again, this I have already told you that whenever you are given an aromatic aldehyde and an aliphatic aldehyde or ketone, then the aliphatic part will retain the carbonyl group, right? So first of all, what should be the product? The first product would be the aldol formation, right? So what should be the aldol? It would be C6H5CH. Then I can write this as COH. Now it is easier for me. Then I can imagine that this as this, right? First it will form the aldol and then it will undergo the condensation reaction to remove the water molecule. So I am directly removing this water molecule having hydrogen removed from the alpha carbon. That means this H2 will go and this oxygen will go, and what I will get is CH double bond CH CO CH3. I have skipped one step. The middle product was C6H5CH OH CH2 CO CH3, and then after releasing one molecule of water it will form alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. So particularly this reaction of aliphatic and aromatic aldehyde and ketones, this kind of aldol condensation is known as the Claisen condensation, right? Any exception for Cannizzaro reaction? For bulky groups, for example, any particular example you have in your mind? C, like this, CHO, and same compound, that means CH3 3CCHO, having in presence of base, what should be the product? I can see that both the reactant does not has alpha hydrogen. That means whatever the reaction will take place, it would be Cannizzaro reaction. Obviously it is not cross Cannizzaro reaction. What should be the possible product? Cannizzaro reaction, basically they are oxidation and reduction reaction, self oxidation and reduction reaction. In this case the product would be CH3 3 CH2OH and CH3 3 C COH, right? So what were you expecting the kind of exception out of it? This is that is for bulky compound. Suppose if I replace this by C6H5 3, right? In that case I would say that yes, this is quite an unstable compound and it may break into, it will release CO2 and it will form C6H5 3CH, right? It could be it is the possibility, because in case of bulky group the compounds are unstable. Have you heard about the ortho effect? What is ortho effect? Okay, let's discuss first of all carboxylic acid, then we'll come to ortho effect. carboxylic acids. Obviously, they are the compounds having the functional group of COOH, right? First of all, let's come to their preparation. What is the easiest mode of preparation of from? We can simply take primary alcohol and oxidize it using dichromate, acidified dichromate, right? It will result in RCOOH, right? Similarly, I can take an acid chloride and I can oxidize it and it will result in the formation of carboxylic acid. Again, let's take amide. These acid chloride amides, they all are the derivatives of the carboxylic acid. So, out from using the derivatives, we can get back to the parent functional group, right? So, using the hydrolysis reaction simply, I can say I am getting this carboxylic acid and the remaining is ammonium part, right? The another is RC triple bond N. What is this? This is cyano group, but what do you call this compound? They are nitriles. Nitriles, right? So, I should take hydrolysis reaction again as an application. What should be the product? RCOOH, and this should be ammonia, which I am writing is as ammonium, right? Another is using Grignard reagent. Whenever you want to add some alkyl group to any of the compound, you should use Grignard reagent, right? Because they are electron rich species, right? They are very much polar. For example, suppose if I am using this, should be RCOOH. Clear? The another uses CO plus NaOH under high pressure. What is the current atmospheric pressure? It is 1 atmosphere, but I am using 8 to 10 atmosphere. That means I am using a very high pressure. Using this reaction, I can make sodium salt of formic acid, which I can further reduce as HCOOH, right? The another reaction is using alkenes, right? If I take alkene and if I add CO and H2O to it using phosphoric acid, right? At high temperature, it would be CH3, CH2, COOH. So, basically use of carbon monoxide molecule is to add the carboxylic group, right? Again using ROH. Earlier we were using the primary alcohol, which was RCH2OH. For this, obviously if I oxidize it, the possible product is RCOH. What if I am saying that I am having ROH and I want to add one more carbon to it? So what should I do? I should take CO and NaOH, and that would result in RCOONA, right? If I want to add one more carbon, one more is RCH3 using alkane, using oxygen CH3COO twice manganese will result in RCOH plus H2O. Understood? Can we prepare aromatic acids as well? These all were the example for aliphatic acids, aliphatic carboxylic acid. What if I am taking an aromatic compound, suppose this. Now if I oxidize it, what will happen? First I'll using acidified KMnO4, right? And second is H plus H2O. So what would be the product? Obviously it would be benzoic acid. This is the first basic acid from the aromatic carboxylic acid. What should be the product, side product? H2O, right? Similarly, I can use RNC. This is cyanide group or isocyanide group? Isocyanide group. So I can also use isocyanide group, functional group, and again using the hydrolysis reaction, I can write this as RNH2. Obviously, because in this case there is a linkage between carbon and nitrogen instead of carbon-carbon linkage. So first, after the hydrolysis of this isocyanide group, I'll get the amine. So using this amine group, right, I can further amide group, amido group you can say, right? Whenever you have, basically you call this group as amine group, amido group or amine group, right? Whenever they are in the conjugation with the alkyl or aryl part, they are called amine. Otherwise this is amido group, right? What I am getting here is an acid and an amine, right? They are quite a basic reaction. So let's take the properties now, properties of carboxylic acid, right? RCOOH. What should be the reaction with sodium? Sodium is used as a, it is used as a reducing agent, isn't? Sodium is a metal and we know metal are the electron donors. So basically any metals, usually they are used for reduction reaction, right? So whenever I am using metal, sodium metal, what should be the possible product? It would be RCONA and half H2. This H2 release will be used to reduce this carboxylic acid into the alcohol, right? This is quite an initial part. First of all, it will form a sodium salt and then it will get reduced, right? In presence of NaOH, again it is RCONA and H2O. Then Na2CO3, it will form the sodium salt and carbon dioxide and water. What about reaction with NH3? This reaction is a part for the formation of the derivative of acids. What should be the product? I can write this is NH2H and this is OH minus, right? So what should be the product? RCONH2 and water. So basically I have formed the derivative of acid which is known as the, what do you call this kind of compound? Amide, right? Amide, having this CONH2 group, right? What should be the product with PCl5 or SOCl2? They both are used as a chlorinating agent. What will happen? They will chlorinate this part, and what you will get is RCOCl. Understood? Let's take ROH. This is a Very famous reaction you have learned in the 9th and 10th class. What is the product formation when an acid reacts with an alcohol? Ester, and hence this reaction is known as esterification, resulting in the formation of ester. What should be the product? RCOO. Suppose I am using R dash, RCOO R dash. This is known as esterification. What about P2O5? Phosphorus pentaoxide. It is used as a dehydrating agent. That means suppose I am writing acid as RCOOH and RCOOH. I know phosphorus pentaoxide is used as a dehydrating agent. That means it will remove water molecule. That means this OH and this H. So I'll be left with RCO. This is same. So I'll write this as twice and oxygen. Right? RCO twice O. This is known as the acid anhydride. Acid anhydride. Right? So I should write this as RCO twice O. Okay. Next is using calcium hydroxide followed by distillation. They will form the calcium salts. That means they will form, suppose this is the acid. I know what is the valency for calcium? +2. That means 2 molecules of acid should combine to form the calcium salt, just like we say that RCOONA. But can I write RCOOCA? In that case, it still has the +1 valency. So what should I do? I should write the calcium salt of carboxylic acid, which I should better write as RCO twice Ca. Right? So for this, first it will form the calcium salt and then I am distilling it. So what should be the product? It would be RCOR. Distillation means I am removing the metal. I am again removing the salt of it and trying to make the solid form into the liquid form. Right? Again, let's take example of NaOH and then followed by electrolysis. First it will form the sodium salt RCOO(Na), and then I am saying I am doing the electrolysis of it. Whenever I am doing electrolysis of any sodium salt, it will result in the formation of alkane, right? This was the reaction in alkanes also, and hence you will get R. Okay, it will result in the removal of this part. Okay, this is also known as Kolbe's electrolytic method. Whenever you are given NaOH and electrolysis, it is Kolbe electrolytic method. RCOOH. What should be the reaction with HI? Hydrogen iodide. Hydrogen iodide again is used for reduction purposes, right? So it should be RCH3 plus H2O and I2. You can balance this reaction. Again, lithium aluminium hydride and sodium borohydride, again they are also used for reduction purposes. Yes, it would be RCH2OH. Do you know the reaction Hell-Volhard-Zelinsky reaction? It is used for the alpha halogenation, right? It is used for, suppose I am using Cl2. This reaction is used for the alpha halogenation of the carboxylic acid. Suppose this is the carboxylic acid. Suppose this was the acid. This is the alpha carbon. So what will be the product? It will result in the alpha halogenation. So it would be RCHClCOOH. This reaction particularly is known as Hell-Volhard-Zelinsky reaction, which we usually abbreviate as HVZ reaction. Right? For alpha halogenation. Then there is one more reaction with the hydrazoic acid. You know about hydrazine, NH2NH2. So what is hydrazoic acid? It is HN3, or I can use concentrated H2SO4. This reaction is used for, I'm incorporating this group basically, hydrazoic acid. So it would be RNH2. RNH2 is a reducing agent. Amines are reducing agent or oxidizing agent? They are reducing agent because nitrogen has one pair of electron pair on it, and hence amines are basically reducing agent. So I am using hydrazoic acid to form amines from the carboxylic acid. It would be RNH2 and CO2 and N2. Please make sure this is HN3, hydrazoic acid, and not NH3. If it would have been NH3, the reaction would have been RCH2CONH2. That means the formation of amido group, right? You know about plus I effect and minus I effect. Plus I effect and basically they are inductive effect. Plus I effect, that means any group which enhances the electron density towards it, it will result in the plus I effect, while the other will show, vice versa, will show minus I effect. Suppose I am talking about chlorine, right? Does it show plus I effect or minus I effect? What about nitro group? What about amino group? And what about methoxy group? What kind of I effect they show? Plus I effect or minus I effect? Here we can discuss ortho effect now. First you should classify out of these which one of the following shows plus I effect and which one shows minus I effect. You already know inductive effect. OCH3 will show plus I effect. Electron donating group, again it will also show plus I, minus I and minus I, right? Now whenever I am saying ortho effect is something that means suppose any group which is ortho to the functional group. Suppose I am talking about the carboxylic acids. So that means this is the structure for this carboxylic acid, aromatic. Whenever I am saying ortho, that means I am talking about the aromatic compounds, obviously. So when I am saying ortho effect, that means any group which is ortho to the main functional group. What will happen? Suppose if I place some heavy group, any bulky group to the ortho position to the main functional group, it will result in the steric hindrance, because this group and this main group, they will have steric hindrance with each other, due to which this proton bond gets weak and it can be dissociated easily, right? Anything which can easily donate a proton, they are known as the good acids, right? So whenever you have an ortho group to the main carboxylic group, next to the carboxylic group, obviously if I am talking about the carboxylic group and there is a group ortho to it, then this effect is known as the ortho effect. The effect of the ortho effect is that due to the steric hindrance between the carboxylic group and the group ortho to the carboxylic group, there is a steric hindrance and hence this proton gets easily dissociated, due to which these kind of acids, they are highly reactive. So whenever any, suppose you are given an ortho acid, suppose I have two kinds of acid, COOH and Cl. So if I want to compare which is a stronger acid, so what should I say? First is strong acid or second is strong acid? First is strong acid because it has an ortho group next to the carboxylic groups and hence due to the ortho effect, this proton will get dissociated faster and hence it is a stronger acid. This is known as the ortho effect, right? So ortho position, electron donating. Okay, this will be cleared by using this example. First, okay, you have to decide which are the strongest acid, right? Suppose I have this nitro group and I have the same acid with steric hindrance. Okay, out of these two, obviously I know which is a strong acid, but what if I am given this acid COOH and then NH2, then out of these two, 1 and 2, how will you compare which is a strong acid? For that I should be knowing that whether the carboxylic group is para-directing or meta-directing or ortho-directing. If first I should draw the resonating structure of the carboxylic acid and then on basis of that I will decide whether the presence of an electron withdrawing group or an electron donating group will enhance the activity of acid or not. If any substitution results in easier dissociation of proton, that means I would say that this kind of substituent will result in the easy dissociation of acid and hence this is more strong acid. So what if I want to compare this nitro group and amino group substituted to ortho position to the carboxylic acid? In this case, what should I decide? That out of 1 and 2, which is a strong acid? First one. Why? Let's put more choices for you. Suppose you have an meta group also, right? And you have chlorine group also. And you have plain carboxylic acid and having methane group, right, and having an alcohol group and a plain aliphatic acid, right? Okay, now decide which is the strongest acid. Let's name them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Now you have to place these acids according to their acidic strength.
It is clear that electron donating is weaker.
Okay. Always remember it's a thumb rule. Okay.
Now it's depend on ortho and para position.
Whether the carboxylic group is meta-directing or ortho and para-directing. Every group, every substituent has a directing effect. Whether they'll prefer ortho and para position and whether they'll prefer the meta position, right? whether the charge density is on the ortho and para, right? What kind of reaction it will undergo, nucleophilic or electrophilic? Electrophilic, right? So it's a thumb rule. Always remember that electron withdrawing group, they always result in the increased acidity. Why? Because electron withdrawing group will tend to pull the electron density towards itself, which will make this bond weaker, and hence the dissociation of H plus would be easier, right? Suppose I am talking about this group. Someone has asked me what is steric hindrance. Okay, if I am placing nitro group ortho to this carboxylic group, and I am placing nitro group para to the carboxylic group, so in which case there is less cluttering? In this case there is more hindrance, because these two groups are closer to each other, while in this case they are quite far from each other, and hence due to steric hindrance, this is known as steric hindrance, this proton can easily dissociate because it wants to release its tension. Anybody would want to prefer a open space rather than a steric hindrance. So due to the placement of this nitro group in the ortho position, this is a stronger acid, and hence this is known as the ortho effect, and this effect happens due to the steric hindrance. I hope they got the answer. Alright. Electron withdrawing group always results in increased acidity, while electron donating group will result in the decreased acidity, obviously, right? It is clear that the compounds having nitro group and the chloro group will have the highest acidity as compared to compounds having amino group, which are electron donating, methyl group and methoxy group. I have not written methoxy group. I can also write as OCH3. It is also a, we will discuss, it is also a electron donating group, right? That means any compound having electron withdrawing group would be stronger acid as compared to compound having electron donating group. Okay, if I want to compare aliphatic and aromatic acids, which is a strong acid? Think. Anything, suppose due to resonance, everything gets stabilized. In aliphatic compounds, if I remove this proton and I get this, and if I am saying I have this compound and I am getting COO minus, in which case resonance can take place? In this case, that means after losing a proton, this structure could be made stable, and hence if I want to compare aromatic and aliphatic acid, I should remember that after losing a proton, an aromatic acid can get stabilized due to the resonance effect, and hence aromatic acids are always stronger acid than the aliphatic acids. Okay, what about K value? How do you decide K value? When we will come to the, you have already studied the equilibria thing, right? Okay, just because she has put the question, what is K value? Suppose I am saying HCl is getting dissociated as H plus and Cl minus, right? I am saying that there is an equilibrium between it. So I should write the equilibrium constant, capital K, which would be H plus concentration into Cl minus concentration divided by HCl concentration. That means anything having this is known as what? Equilibrium constant. I can also name it as dissociation constant. So anything which has high dissociation constant, obviously, because pKa means minus log of K, right? So if you want to relate it with K values, you can equally relate. Higher acidity means higher Ka value, dissociation constant value. Okay, all right. Among these compounds, obviously, this is more acidic, this is more acidic, this is more acidic. What about if I want to compare nitro, ortho, meta and para? Ortho is always more acidic due to the ortho effect. Again, carboxylic group is ortho and para directing, right? And hence ortho and para will be more acidic as compared to the meta group, and hence the order is ortho followed by para, then meta. So I should write the order here. 1 is more acidic, then 2, then 3. Okay, I have already completed the electron withdrawing group of nitro, but chlorine is also a electron withdrawing group. So the next is chloro, because nitro group is more electron withdrawing as compared to chloro group, right? I have already covered the electron withdrawing groups. Now we are left with plain benzoic acid. If I am given a benzoic acid and a benzoic acid with a electron donating group, then in that case benzoic acid would be stronger acid, right? And hence I will be having 5. Then why 9? 9 would be the least, right? What about if I want to compare the OCH3 and CH3 and amino group? Out of these, which is more electron donating? On basis of that, I can decide anything which is weak electron donating group will have strong acidity. NH2 is strong, and weak electron donating or strong electron donating? It should be 4 followed by 10 followed by 6 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we have left with one more. 9 is the least. 8th. Right? You should look for the order, exact order I don't remember for now, but you should look for the correct order of electron donating group depending on the plus I effect. A group having more plus I effect will have lesser acidity, right? So we can start with acid derivatives now. What is the first derivative? Why we are calling them as derivative? Anything in which the carboxylic acid group is replaced by another group. Suppose I am saying RCOCl. In this case, OH has been replaced by chlorine. It is called acid chloride. Acid chloride. It is a part of acid derivative, obviously, right? So what is the way to prepare the acid chloride? Okay, I can take RCONH2. This is known as amide, having CONH2 group. I want to make it RCOCl. That means CO group is also already existing. I want to replace this amino group by Cl. So what should I do? How should I make acid chloride from amine? This would be more clear when we would be studying amides, right? RCOCl. What was the basic reaction we have studied in the carboxylic acid? How did I prepare the carboxylic acid from carboxylic group? By using PCl5. This is the most basic reaction, or SOCl2. Okay. So can we take the properties now? Properties of acid chloride. It is RCOCl. Suppose I hydrolyze it. What should be the product? RCOOH, right? Followed by H2O. What about R-OH? Again, this is kind of an ester formation because this is again a derivative of acid only. It will result in RCOR dash, right? And HCl. What about reaction with ammonia? Ammonia. This Cl will get replaced by NH2, RCO, NH2. What about reaction with RCOOH? This is kind of acid only. And when acid and acid react, suppose I am saying I am heating it, or if I am using a dehydrating agent, what will happen? It will form the acid anhydride, right? What about H2PD BaSO4? What is this reaction called? This reaction is called Rosenmund reaction, which we have studied in the previous class for the formation of aldehydes. It would be RCHO, right? Can we have a Friedel-Crafts reaction here? Friedel-Crafts reaction. What is the basis for Friedel-Crafts reaction? Suppose I am using benzene and anhydrous AlCl3. What will happen? C6H5CO and R. That means basically this chlorine is getting replaced by this benzene. Phenyl group, right? This is the example for Friedel-Crafts reaction, right? If I want to put CH3 here, I would use CH3 Cl, right? Understood? The next derivative is acid anhydride. Obviously, they are formed when two acid molecules combine and eliminate water to form RCO twice O, right? What should be the properties of acid anhydride? They are like this. I can take two different acids. Forget it. What if I hydrolyze it? What should be the product of hydrolysis? While forming the anhydride, I was removing water molecule. And if I am again adding water molecule to it, what will happen? Formation of two acid molecules. That means RCOOH and R dash COOH. Having this R will have one carbon less, right? What would be the reaction with NaOH? R, again it will form the sodium salt of acid. It will form alcohol and acid. This is actually the reverse of the esterification reaction, right? In esterification reaction, what you do? You take acid and you take alcohol in presence of in presence of weak acid, right? And you form ester. And in this case, we are taking acid anhydride and using base to again form acid and alcohol, right? What about reaction with ammonia? It should be RCO NH2 and RCO NH2 and This is NH2H and R dash OH, alcohol and amido group. What with R dash NH2? It would be RCONHR. With reaction sodium and alcohol, sodium is used for reduction purposes, and hence the product would be RCH2OH and R dash OH. Right? You are reducing the carbonyl group. What about reaction with R double dash OH in presence of acid? Again, it will result in the ester formation. This is not ester, this is acid anhydride. Acid anhydride and alcohol in presence of acid will form ester only. Basically, you can consider this acid anhydride as an acid, and you are using one molecule of this acid and an alcohol to form ester, and you will be left with one more molecule of acid. It would be R dash COOH, carboxylic acid. With reaction PCl5 or SOCl2, it would be RCOCl and R dash Cl. Now the reaction with Grignard reagent, R dash, I am taking R double dash MgX, and then you have to hydrolyze it, because you cannot leave this magnesium halide as such on the carbon. You should remove it. So hence I am writing hydrolysis, because MgX will get removed as MgXOH, and it will leave this acid anhydride with addition of this R double dash alkyl group. So what should be the product? RC R double dash OH. Alright. Addition of this group on this carbon. This is O minus, this is plus, and out of Grignard reagent RMgX, this is plus and this is minus, and hence R minus will go to C plus. So whenever you intend to add some alkyl group to any carbon, you should use Grignard reagent followed by hydrolysis. Let's come to next derivative, amides. They are obviously having RCONH2 group. They are the derivatives, right? What should be the reaction with water? You are hydrolyzing it basically. H2OH plus RCOH plus NH4 plus. In the earlier part you were getting water. In this case you will get ammonium, right? NaOH with NaOH with P2O5, which is used as a dehydrating agent, with HNO2. What is the use of HNO2? What is the name of HNO2? It is nitric acid or nitrous acid? Nitrous acid. What is the use of nitrous acid? You must have studied in inorganic chemistry part while we were studying the P block elements. No. H2 platinum or LiAlH4. And Br2 NaOH. Now what should be the reaction for this with NaOH? With NaOH, what should be the reaction? RCOO Na. It is getting back to the carboxylic form, but sodium salt of carboxylic acid, followed by NH 3, right? Or NH4OH, NH3, right? What should be the reaction with phosphorus pentaoxide? It is used for dehydrating purpose. So what should be the reaction? RCN. You are removing this as water molecule, right? What should be the reaction with HNO2? What do you call this reaction as? Oxidizing reaction or reduction reaction? Oxidation reaction. Oxidation or reduction? N2 is getting oxidized or reduced. In this case, it is in zero state. Earlier, it was in minus state or plus state. How do you call this reaction as oxidizing or reducing? Why do we use nitrous acid for oxidation or reduction? HNO3 is definitely used for oxidizing purpose. HNO2 is used for reduction purpose. That is the difference. Victor-Meyer test. HNO2.
To find out that
To find to differentiate between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. This is known as Victor-Meyer test. Then so what is the product formation in that case? Suppose I am given a secondary alcohol, and if I treat secondary alcohol with the nitrous acid, what should be the formation? What would be the product? Will it be a carboxylic acid, or will it be amide or amine? What kind of product do you expect from Victor-Meyer test? Okay, in that case you should know what is the use of nitrous acid and not nitric acid. It is used for reduction purpose, while HNO3 is used for oxidation purpose. With H2PT or LiAH4, basically you are reducing it, they are reducing. This is the use of HNO2. In that case, Victor-Meyer test, it must be using for some different purpose. There must be some another reagent in combination with HNO2, right? What should be the product with H2 platinum? You are reducing it, you are adding hydrogen to it. So what should be the product? RCH2NH2, right? In case of Br2NaOH, what should be the product? It should be RNH2 plus K2CO3 plus 2KBr plus H2O. This reaction is known as Hofmann-Bromamide reaction. This is actually a test for amides which we perform in the lab. Hofmann-Bromamide reaction, in which we convert amide into amine, right? This is a test in the lab we perform, Hofmann-Bromamide reaction. Any other derivative left? Okay. Let's compare the reactivity of these acid derivatives. What are the derivatives we have learned? Acid chloride and acid anhydride and esters and amides. These four acid derivatives we have learned till now. What is the reactivity of these acid derivatives? Out of these four, which are more reactive? Provided with the reason. The first reason we should consider is basicity of leaving group. Whenever you say basicity, that means anything which has lone pair of electron which can give away electron is known as a base. Okay, in this case, which is a base? Cl minus, and hence this is a leaving group. In this case, which is a leaving group? RCO. In this case, it is R minus. In this case, it is NH2 minus. These are the leaving group. So based on the basicity of the leaving group, you decide which is more reactive in nature. And the second effect we should consider is the resonance effect, right? Out of these leaving group, which is the most strong leaving group, which is more basic? Cl minus is more basic or NH2 minus is more basic? Amino group, we know it is an electron donating group, and hence it has more of electron density to it, and hence it is more basic as compared to this, as compared to this, and as compared to this, right? Obviously, this is the most basic group. Comparative to this is less basic, and again this is less basic than this group because it has a carbonyl group with it, right? And again Cl minus is the least basic group. So whenever you have the whenever the leaving group is more basic, in that case the acid reactivity would be highest or lowest? Whenever the leaving group is more basic, in that case what should be the case? Because what I want is that I want this bond to be easily broken. Anything which is more reactive will easily cleave the bond, right? Suppose I am talking about this bond. I am saying that Cl minus is very least basic, right? That means it is less basic as compared, this is more acidic, and hence this bond is can be easily cleaved, right? The more the easily the bond can be cleaved, the more reactive it is. I know that carbonyl group is basically electron withdrawing group, right? Carbonyl group is electron withdrawing in nature, and whenever we have a, this will act as an acid and this will act basically a base. Whenever acid and base bond is weaker, in that case the bond will get cleaved easily. Out of these acid all these acid derivatives, Cl minus is least basic, and hence it will try to cleave the bond easily, and hence the more easily the bond is cleaved, the more reactive it is, and hence the the reactivity will follow this order only, because the basicity of the leaving group follows this order. Right? The second part we should consider is the resonance effect. Suppose let's consider that I have this kind of structure. I am saying this is a basic group attached to it. What will happen? This lone pair of electron will get to this bond, and this bond will get to this oxygen. What will happen? It will result in R, C, O minus and double bond Z plus. Now whenever in what case the out of these four, in what case this resonance structure would be more stable? Why? In these four, out of these four, if I consider this kind of resonating structure, if I am saying that this kind of resonating structure occurs between these four types of acid derivatives, then in out of these four, which of the one will be highest basic or will be highly reactive? On the basis of resonance structure. RCOOR. Why? is resonance stabilized, and why not amino group? The more is the stabilization of the resonating structure, the more is the reactivity of that acid derivative. In case of RCOCl, right, the resonating structure is more stable. Why? Because I can draw this is like RCO minus this Cl plus, right? Again I can write the other structure as RCO minus and NH2, sorry, not NH2, right, RCO NH2 followed by a plus, and then RCO what should I write? It would be OR, right, double bond, and then I have RCO minus double bond COR, right? Out of these four, which is more stabilizing in nature, considering the fact that chlorine is electron withdrawing in nature, and hence having a positive charge on it results in the more stabilization or least stabilization? Yes, chlorine to stabilize it, right? It will withdraw the electrons. Then I know that when I was drawing the resonance structure, I draw the structure like this. I consider that this carbonyl group is polar and this basic group will donate the electron here. Out of these four, I know amino group can donate electron easily, right? And hence it can easily form the resonating structure. In case of chlorine, can it easily give the pair of electron to form the resonating structure? So in this case the resonating structure, is highly stable, followed by this, and then followed by last in the chloro group. Understood? I know that amino group can easily donate a pair of electron to this bond, and if I want to compare chloro group, can chloro group easily give this pair of electron to this double bond? So compared to this amino and chloro group, amino group can easily donate an electron, and hence it can easily form the resonance structure. The more easily the resonance structure is formed, that means that kind of acid derivative is more stable, right? And hence the order is reversed. That means chloro group, acid chloride having the chloro group is least stable, and hence it will be highly reactive, right? Resonance structure, whenever resonance structure are more stable, in that case I would say that that thing is least reactive, right? In case of amino, the resonating structures are easily formed as compared to the chloro group, right? So I would say that the amino group that the acid derivative having the amino group are more stable. More stable means they are least reactive, and hence chloro will be highly reactive. So you can justify this order now, that acid chlorides are always strongly reactive, then followed by the acid anhydride, then followed by the esters, and then followed by the amines. Amide means CONH2. Amines. you should call it amines, right? Understood? Sorry, it is RCONH2. Let's consider a compound urea. It is an amido group, compound having amido group, CONH2. This is the compound, right? Suppose I am saying I want to prepare this urea. What should I do? I should take something with this type of group and should react it with NH3, so I can get this group. So what should I use? Suppose I can prepare it using phosgene. Phosgene is COCl Cl. This is like this only. If I replace this chloro group by the amino group, right, which I can do easily using ammonia. If I take 2 molecules of ammonia, what will happen? I'll get urea only, right? I can also prepare ammonia using carbon dioxide. Suppose I am taking carbon dioxide and react it with ammonia. What will happen? It will, and heat it. What will I get? CO, OH and NH2. This is C plus O minus, this is NH2 minus and H plus only, right? This kind of formation. If I remove ammonia from it, what will happen? Sorry, if I take ammonia, CO, O, NH4 and NH2, and then followed by, which can rearrange to form OC, NH2 and NH2, because one molecule of water has been eliminated, right? Starting from the carbon dioxide, I have prepared urea, or I can prepare urea using phosgene, provided that compound should have a CO group. There is one famous test called biurate test. Have you performed this test in laboratory? No. Alright. Suppose I want to study the reaction of ammonia. I want to know whether the given compound is urea or not, right? So what will I do? I'll take urea in a test tube and start heating it. Triangle means heating, right? What will happen? It will result in the formation, elimination of a water molecule, and what I'll get is NH2CO, NHCO, NH2. Right? This is known as biurate. Biurate, because it has been formed by 2 molecules of urea and hence biurate. What happens if I want to know whether the given compound is urea or not? I'll take alkaline solution of copper sulfate. What will happen? That this biurate molecule will interact with the copper, with the metal ion of copper sulfate to form a complex. Like this is ammonia, N of this, and you can draw this whole moiety here, right? And this is a violet colored complex. And hence this is known as the biurate test. Whenever you are given a biurate, if you add a alkaline solution of copper sulfate to it, what will happen? A violet colored complex will form, because this is due to the chelation of the copper metal ion with the nitrogens, right? This biurate test will be helpful for you in solving the questions. Whenever in a question you are given that this compound gives the biurate test, then you can figure out that obviously it must have contained NH2CO group. This is an indication. If a compound gives biurate test, that means it is an indication it contains a amido group, right? Okay, what about the reaction of urea with H2SO4? What should be the possible product? You know about sulfamic acid? Sulfamic acid. Have you heard this name, sulfamic acid? This was the part of the, again, p block elements in organic chemistry. It forms NH2SO3H plus CO2. Sulfamic acid. What is H2SO4? H plus HSO3 minus, sorry, HSO4 minus, or I can simply write HSO3 minus and HSO4 minus and H plus, right? After this, because it is NH2 minus, this is SO3 H plus. Okay, I know about sulfite. SO3 is 2 minus. If I combine it with the proton, it will become HSO3 minus. Then what would be the reaction? Obviously sulfite has the valency of 2 minus. Both sulfite and sulfate have the valency of 2 minus. This is the reaction of
H is positive in nature.
H is
HSO3 is positive in nature.
and OH minus,
Yeah. And it reacts like an reagent.
and hence I can say that OH minus has been replaced by NH2 group, and it results in the formation of sulfamic acid. You should know the formula for sulfamic acid. Most of the students does not know the formula for sulfamic acid. Okay, one more reaction with the malonic acid. What is malonic acid? Okay, you don't know. CH2, CO, OH and OH, having 3 carbons, but it is a bicarboxylic acid. Okay, what will happen? It will result again in the elimination of water molecules. 2 molecules of water will be eliminated, and hence it will result in formation of a cyclic compound, NHCO, NHCO and then CH2. This is known as, you don't have to mug up the names, but this is known as the barbituric acid. Okay. Similarly, you can do lactic acid and chloroacetic acid, glycolic acid. These are basically the acids of commercial importance. Commercial importance, right? On basis of that, you can get some question. Okay, have you heard about Reformatesky reaction? Reformatesky reaction. All right. Whenever you combine an aldehyde COCO C2H5 CH2 COO C2H5 with a ester, alpha halo ester, right? Suppose I am taking, this is the main foremost condition, that first you will have an aldehyde or a ketone. When react with alpha halo ester, it will result in the formation of acid, carboxylic acid. Suppose I am taking ethyl bromoacetate, CH2 COO C2H5, right? In presence of zinc. This is a name reaction again, very important from exam point of view. Whenever you react an aldehyde or a ketone with the alpha halo ester in presence of zinc, what you will get is carboxylic acid as CH2 COO C2H5 OZNBr These kind of reaction will be helpful when you will be solving some question to reduce the structure of compound. And if I hydrolyze it in presence of acid, what would be the product? It would be COH, COOH, and this same thing, CH2, COO, C2H5, and then CH2, COO, C2H5. So basically you have reduced this carbonyl group using the bromo group and the zinc metal, right? And you have added this part of alkyl group to it, which has been hydrolyzed further, right? This is known as the Reformatesky reaction. There are one more kind of acid derivatives. Have you heard about epoxides? Epoxides. They are basically ring type structure. These are known as epoxide, okay, which we can prepare using alkene. I have to add one oxygen atom to it to form a epoxide, and I have to remove this double bond obviously. So I can use X2H2O, that means I am halogenating it to form CXCOH, and then I will remove this XOH, sorry, not XOH, but minus X minus and minus H2O to form C double bond C. Right? I have removed this halo group and I have removed this hydrogen part to form the epoxide, right, in presence of base. Base will abstract one proton from it obviously and form the epoxide. There is one more way, using peroxidation. You know what is the use of peroxy acid? To introduce oxygen in any compound. Suppose I am given this kind of alkene only, and if I use any per acid means any acid having one more oxygen atom, right? So suppose if I am using per benzoic acid, what will happen? It would be C6H5. Benzoic acid is C6H5COOH, but per benzoic acid would be C6H5COOOH. So what will happen? It will introduce a oxygen atom in this double bond, right? This is called the peroxidation reaction. Right? there is one more reaction for aldehydes called Wittig reaction. Whenever aldehydes or ketone react with phosphorus lide, phosphorus, here Y is silent, ठीक है. For example, COO plus RCR dash C6H5 thrice. Phosphorus lide, that means compound of saturated compound of unsaturated compound of phosphorus, right? Then it will result in presence of dry ether, it will result in the formation of a substituted alkane and a phosphine oxide. All right. So basically it is called the, I can say that this is the alkylation reaction of carbonyl compounds. Whenever I want to remove this CO group, O part, oxygen part, I should react it with the corresponding phosphorus lide to remove this O part and instantly put this part of the phosphorus lide to the carbon, and hence I have alkylated the carbonyl compound. This is known as the Wittig reaction. You can simply see that this part is as such, but this alkyl part has been replaced by the oxygen, and obviously the remaining part has got attached to this carbon and formed in the led to the formation of an alkane. All right. So if you say that some compound show a Wittig reaction, you should know that it is an aldehyde or a ketone, obviously, right? Next is Michael addition reaction. This is the last reaction, Michael addition reaction. Whenever you are given a aldehyde or a ketone, they will undergo they will undergo nucleophilic addition to alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds. Suppose we were having the aldol, right? Having the carbonyl group and an alcohol group, and once it has released the water molecule, what we got was a alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds. Whenever alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds results in nucleophilic addition reaction, for example, I am taking acrolein CH, this is a carbonyl group, alpha beta unsaturated compound, and if I try to add a HCN molecule to it, it will result in the addition reaction, and hence what I will get is CH2 CHO and H, sorry, what I will get is CH2 CHO and then CN, right? Understood? This was the Michael addition reaction. Addition of this compound, any compound, to the alpha beta part, right? This finishes off with the acid derivatives.